Time for a new video, I would say. Let's go ahead and talk about something that really makes me interested. Let's play the video. Today, I am describing a concept of public transportation that is slowly gaining some traction, which is called micromobility. Micromobility in this case refers to anything that is something that can be seen as faster than walking, like in this image from Los Angeles at Universal City Metro Station. You get to see here a bird electric scooter next to an LA Metro bus. And this was taken during the morning rush hour, wherein a user left a bird electric scooter very close to a bus, which is a perfect description of how micromobility can be integrated into a larger public transportation network. So, what is micromobility? As you can see in both images, on the left, you have both the docked version, which is for bicycles, and dockless versions, which is for the scooters, which includes Lime and Bird. And then to the right, you have a pedicab that runs along a street in downtown Sacramento. Micromobility is an innovative mobility option that does not involve either driving, riding transit, or walking. And it includes bikeshare, scooter share, and for hire pedicab companies, among others. I personally use micromobility very often when I travel to San Francisco, especially when I go to, like when I go between the financial district, for example, and the Marina district as an alternative to Muni, or I can go between the financial district and Civic Center, or between the Ferry Building and Pier 39 along the Embarcadero. It may be a little bit more expensive than riding muni buses, but it's worth it, especially if you do not like if you are able to use bike lanes and sidewalks efficiently, because instead of stopping for passengers, you end up stopping for you only have to stop at some traffic lights where you believe that it is unsafe for you to continue when the light turns red and you have a lot of vehicles coming towards you. So micromobility is a great way not only to exercise but to also reduce your carbon emissions. So why choose micromobility when walking is free and healthy? Well, first, walking long distances, especially on hilly terrain, can be exhausting and painful. I have my mom who walks quite a lot at her work, and it can be especially painful if she stands all day long at work. When I took her to a bus stop so that we can ride a bus, instead of taking roughly 6 minutes, it took us about 10 to 15 minutes, because at the time my mom had leg pain, and it would have been better if I could rent a scooter to get to the nearest bus stop and get to the bus that way. So there is a great benefit to having a micromobility option, especially if this involves walking over 5 to 10 blocks to get to your next destination. At the same time, time is money. Walking is a slow way to get to work, meetings, or other events. I have seen this happen before. When I went to San Francisco to an event at Spur, which is a non-profit organization that focuses on urban planning and design, I had a choice of either walking to the event from an eatery along Kearny Street, or I can borrow a Lime scooter, ride along ride along Kearney, or use alternate streets to get to Mission Street and drop it off next to the Spur office so that I can get to the meeting sooner. So I chose at the time to use Lime to get to the meeting, and I ended up saving at least 5 to 10 minutes of additional walking, especially when Kearney and Market can be a very busy corridor for pedestrians. And micromobility is a flexible travel option. As I already described a little earlier, micromobility like Lime, Bird, and other companies provide me an additional option to simply walk between two destinations. And the fun thing about it is these vehicles do not emit any pollution at all. Instead, these vehicles are battery powered. Most of them are located for scooters below the stand area where you stand and maneuver the scooter, or in the case of a bike, it's right on the body where with through electric power, it powers the bike uphill and downhill. Well, some cities have free transit options, but why do I choose to pay for micromobility instead? I give you here a great example of Broadway Shuttle with AC Transit, which operates as a free shuttle between Jack London Square and Koreatown in downtown Oakland. Fixed route transit lines only serve certain corridors at scheduled times. In this case, for the Broadway B, it runs Monday to Friday from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. with service every 10 minutes. I know it's great, but sometimes you can do much better than that. I know there are other buses that run along Broadway in downtown Oakland, but I know that we can do much better if we choose to say, hey, we can ride a scooter and we can group together and ride several scooters or bikes at the same time to the chosen destination. At the same time, commuters who have limited options when buses and trains stop running. This is especially true after 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. when buses stop running for the night. Although AC Transit runs buses 24 hours a day, some places like mine in Marin County, we do not have any bus services after 9 p.m. along my corridor, or after 12:30 in the morning, after the final 101 bus goes through my local stop at Redwood and Grant. So between 12:30 a.m. and 5 a.m., it's either I call my dad to pick me up, which is what I usually do, or I walk. If there was a micromobility option, then I would be able to get to where I need to go sooner rather than risk myself walking in the dark and have some fear of being attacked by some other people. Hence, micromobility provides a flexible commuting option with 24/7 availability, which is why I advocate for more micromobility options. And by the way, if you want to see more of what I do, you can follow me on Twitter at Anthony Nachor, or you can also follow me on Instagram, also at Anthony Nachor. Uber and Lyft can get me to where I want to go quickly, so why bother with micromobility? Well, although Uber and Lyft have a fleet of cars available on demand 24/7, not all vehicles are electric powered, which further contributes to carbon emissions. These vehicles flow with regular traffic, subject to congestion and unexpected detours. It can be frustrating especially if you choose Uber Pool, for example. If you want to get to a destination fast, then all of a sudden you get a notice that you're gonna have to pick up someone else along the way before you get to your ultimate destination, and you end up waiting for some time for that person to get on board the vehicle, and you take that person to another destination other than yours. So unexpected detours can mean wasted time, especially if you are in a hurry for either your next flight, your next transit trip, or an important business meeting. So, micromobility allows greater flexibility and no emissions, and as I already said earlier, faster time for a similar price to Liftline or Uberpool. Which is why, although the offers for Uber and Lyft, the rideshare version, can be cheap, micromobility options, which are also provided by Uber and Lyft, can give choice riders like yours truly an advantage of how do we want to commute, and at the same time, how do you want to get to your destination sooner rather than relying on an Uber, which can take an additional 5 minutes wait time, and sometimes the driver will just rely on his phone rather than allowing you to give him the freedom to use a route that is not used by regular drivers. You know, a lot of drivers would just rely on their GPS, but I got lucky one time wherein there was this one driver who took me from Santa Cruz to San Jose on a Sunday afternoon, and Highway 70 was packed. So I told him, if you know the back ways around here, then I will tip you well. So he knew the back roads around Highway 17, took me around the mountains. And once we got to San Jose with plenty of time to spare, and I was like, oh, great. I tipped him more than, $10. So it's, like, it's a huge incentive for me to really spend some time with local drivers who really know their stuff. But back to micromobility. So, what are bike share and scooter share? Well, bike share and scooter share are two of the most common forms of micromobility. In this case, these are micromobility options for first and last mile trips that can be faster than walking and cover a distance or area typically not served by transit directly. In this case, these these scooters, are used as mobility options for those who either do not drive, who rely on transit but transit isn't available, or for those choice commuters who just want to get to their destinations without the need of driving or taking transit, which what I've already described earlier. And companies loan out bikes and scooters to the general public either for free via an honor system or for a fee with most systems. With most of the micromobility options I've seen here in the Bay Area so far, most of them require me to pay using a credit card to access their vehicles. If I don't have a credit card and I only want to pay cash, then there are several options provided by the same bike companies to use their vehicles, maybe for a lower fee, which I will describe a little bit later. The evolution of bike share, it started as unregulated white bikes in 1965 in Amsterdam by Lud Schimmelpenninck, with the Austin yellow bikes in Texas emulating the Dutch model. It then followed by coin deposit stations that first appeared in 1991 in Farsø in Grena, Denmark, which then evolved to large-scale operations in Copenhagen, and Aarhus. Dock bike stations, which we already saw a little bit earlier, first appeared in 1996 at the University of Portsmouth in southern England. Dockless bike systems, on the other hand, started with Call a Bike by the rail operator Deutsche Bahn in 2000. And the bikeshare system has witnessed an incredible growth in the number of systems from 13 in 2004 to 855 in 2014, totaling 946,000 bikes, 750,000 of which are in China. I know we've seen videos before of people dumping their bikes onto the river, or Chinese cities dumping their bikes en masse because they saw little to no opportunity for them to better market their bikes for their citizens, especially when many people still rely on walking, if not, using public transportation. Even if China by itself sees so many people still using bikes. So basically, there is still a lot of opportunity for bike share companies and scooter share companies to enhance their operations, while at the same time give more people the opportunity to use them. And here are two types of bike share companies: docked and dockless. The docked version, as you see on the left, requires bike stations located near transit hubs, schools, shopping centers, and other attractions. The dockless version on the right only requires anything from a bike pole to either a stop sign or maybe a safe location for riders to leave their bikes and let another person choose a bike, take it to their next destination, and leave it at a safe place. And here are a few of the micromobility companies that exist today. I give you an example from San Francisco. The company that I patronize the most of these are Lime and Lyft. Lime used to operate dockless bike share. This option is still available in some cities, like Reno. Today, however, Lime mostly operates as a scooter share company, in which I truly appreciate Lime's efforts to continue evolving their electric scooter game, especially when I rode their latest version prior to the pandemic. And I really love its ability to show me not just the speed that I'm going, but also the battery. And it also tells me where I can ride my scooter and where I cannot leave my scooter. So that is the wonderful thing that Lime provides its riders. Lyft, on the other hand, provides all sorts of micromobility options, from the dock bike share that I showed you earlier from San Jose to dockless bike share, which is prevalent in San Francisco, and scooter share, in which they have some pink, no, it's not pink, it's actually red jump. So Lyft bought jump scooters, in which those have been rebranded as Lyft. So basically, if I see a jump scooter or a jump dockless bike, then that both forms are now operated by Lyft. So what I love about Lyft in this case is I have the option of going dock bike share or dockless bike share, in which the dockless is the one I prefer when I go to San Francisco, because I can literally travel around the city. In this case, I used a dockless bike with jump from the financial district via the Marina district out to the Golden Gate Bridge. Or should we say, actually, I'm gonna correct myself. I picked up a bike from Laurel Heights along the One California line, took it up along the Presidio, and took it all the way out to the Golden Gate Bridge, which was a wonderful ride, absolutely, but it involved a lot of hills, which gave me some exercise because if I were to walk that distance, it would have taken me hours. But with the electric assist using the Dockless bike share, I was able to travel that distance in around 30 minutes and gave me a good exercise. Plus, I also ended up with great views of the Golden Gate Bridge from a distance. So, what is Dock Bike Share in greater detail? Well, the Dock Bike Share system is a novel solution to bike theft where riders get bikes from a station, bike close to their destination, and dock it again at another station. It may be accessed via an app or by paying using a card at a docking station. The San Francisco Bay Area system used to be sponsored by Ford, called the Ford Go Bike. Now it is owned by Lyft and it's now called Bay Wheels. As with any mode of transport, dock bike share has its advantages and problems. Docking stations next to many transit stops and high traffic attractions make them an attractive option for commuters who want to get to their destination sooner without having a car. Bikes have electric assist technology, which is perfect for hills, and these typically operate with unlimited 30-minute rides for a flat fee, provided that these are returned to a dock within that same time frame. However, when I used Dock Bike Share in Mountain View, I ended up paying nearly $50, 50, because we traveled around Mountain View and we spent around 8 hours biking around that community. And when I returned the bike to a docking station, I ended up paying that amount of money rather than paying around $10 to $12, which is it's like it would have been better for me at the time to rent the bike instead, but oh well. Sidewalk space is required for docking stations, which can take up quite amount of space, which is one of the challenges with Dock Bike Share. Dock Bike Share is also less flexible than the Dockless system, which requires additional walking to get to or from stations, and it can be costlier than their dockless counterparts, especially for short trips. Well, in this case, let me give you a quick example. If I were to say get a bike from a from a dock system, it would require me to pay $9 to use a dock bike, and it will also put in $100 deposit fee, which is charged against my card. And once I return the bike, that $100 fee will be released. So that means the $100 fee will be placed onto the card once I get a dock bike, and that fee will be reflected onto the card until I return that bike at another station, and that fee would be removed, which can be a little bit heavy for many potential commuters. So that's why Dock Bike Share may be a good option if you're traveling with a higher budget than the Dockless system. And also, if you're enjoying this video, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment on this video and all other videos that you see, at my channel. So for the Dockless bike share and scooter share system, as you see over here, these two, Lime and Scoot, are parked at a no parking pole, a no parking sign in San Francisco. These operate without docking stations and instead rely on riders parking their bikes and scooters at safe locations. Dockless systems provide flexibility for picking up and dropping off bikes and scooters a la door-to-door service, which is one of the reasons I prefer the dockless system over the dock system. Even if this option is far more convenient than the docked version, there are still a few issues facing the dockless system. The dockless version acts as a door-to-door service like Lyft and Uber rideshare. The apps that are connected to these scooters wirelessly monitor where their bikes and scooters are located and estimate each vehicle's range using GPS and RFID. And these are easy to use with a drive button, handbrake, bell, and lights. The drive button is especially true for the dockless scooter share system. By the way, this system is prevalent in many communities, not only in California, but around the world, like in Europe. And what I really like about the dockless scooter share system is I can travel within a service area and it can cost me less per mile to travel using a dockless scooter than driving my own car to get between A and B. But it can also be a competitive option to riding a bus. The challenges include with many apps and variable rates, it can be intimidating for potential riders to choose which option is best. This is especially true when I visited Los Angeles recently, wherein comparing the LA Metro and riding an electric scooter, LA Metro charges $1.75 to ride a bus rather than paying $3.60 to start up a Lime scooter and 39 cents a minute to travel anywhere. In this case, Lime is charging a premium for me to travel anywhere, and it's already much more expensive than me riding LA Metro. But paying for that convenience means I can literally travel anywhere I want and I don't have to worry about traffic jams. These bikes and scooters that are in the dockless system are vulnerable to theft and abuse, if not also thrown into a body of water. I have seen a few bikes that I thought they're still in the system, let's say Jump or Lime for a scooter, but their location is on San Francisco Bay, which means people have thrown those bikes and scooters into the bay for no reason, which is why a lot of people are a bit concerned about how to treat these vehicles properly and make sure that these are protected against all sorts of abuse like graffiti. And I've seen people use scooters and drive recklessly on the sidewalk when there are so many people walking along Market Street. There are also people who would use bikes, and I'm guilty of this, by the way. I would just blow through stop signs and I would zoom along at about 20 to 25 miles an hour without realizing that I may not see a vehicle coming, and it can be a cause for me to be hit by a car and be involved in an accident, which is why I really want to address these issues with you so that you get to experience from me as a transportation planner the challenges of this particular mode. And if a vehicle is left outside a service area, staff or contractors will retrieve them for recharging and relocation, which will cost them money. I've seen some contractors picking up many scooters at the same time, put it in the truck, and take them off somewhere. What I realized was that these contractors would take it to their home or to a building wherein those get recharged, and by the following morning, those scooters would be returned onto the streets so that people can use them again. And I thought that work should be done by either Lime, Lyft, Uber, or Bird. So, how to use bike share and scooter share. Download the applicable apps depending on your location, create an account, and enter your payment information. In this case, you need either a credit card or a debit card. You put it into the system, or if you already have PayPal or Apple Pay for some apps like Lime, as I'm showing you here, it'll automatically deduct the fee by integrating it with your PayPal account or your Apple Pay. Once your account is set up, the app will automatically locate you and show you the closest bikes or scooters. It'll also show you the distance and walk time for each parked bike or scooter, plus a vehicle's range. In this case, from where I stayed at the Universal Sheraton Hotel, there are at least 10 scooters within a 2-mile range. The closest one would have been about a 12-minute walk, but the one that I showed over there is a 19-minute walk, and it has a 6-mile range. Press scan when approaching an available bike or scooter. Scan the mounted QR code, accept the terms of riding a scooter or bike, and you're all set. In this case, you can reserve that scooter for the next 10 minutes or so for free. And once you get to the scooter, you scan the QR code, that little box that you see either on the top or on the side of the scooter or bike using your cell phone, and then you accept the terms and conditions that are found in the app. Once it is virtually unlocked, then you're set to go. However, there are more instructions rather than just get up and go. Please wear a helmet if you happen to have one. I know a lot of people would ride these vehicles without a helmet. I know I do it too, because I usually don't bring a helmet when I go down to San Francisco. I usually wear a helmet only if I happen to have it in my bag and travel around, extensively using a bicycle or a scooter. But it is highly recommended to wear a helmet if you have one. If a helmet is supplied with the bike or scooter, wear it. Adjust the helmet to fit your head before riding. Travel using bike lanes as much as possible. If there is no dedicated bike lane, travel with the flow of traffic, staying close to the curb. Follow other cyclists and scooter users on busier streets. This is especially true in San Francisco, wherein Market Street can be a potential maze of buses, pedestrians, cars, delivery trucks, taxis, and more. So that's why you definitely need to follow other cyclists' lead if you choose to use bike share and scooter share on busier corridors. Obey local traffic rules and stay within its service area. There are some scooter companies that have a governor, a speed regulator, in which those scooters have a maximum speed limit. In many cases, the maximum is set to 12 miles per hour for electric scooters per city regulations. The actual speed limit for electric scooters can reach up to 20 miles per hour, especially for the more powerful units. If you leave a scooter outside its service area or in a restricted area, you may be subject to penalties. This is true. On Lime scooters, especially on their newest generation scooters, there is a screen On top of the scooter, it's like a little dashboard. It'll indicate to you your speed, the amount of battery, and any restrictions that you get to see along the way. And those are programmed using geofencing, using GIS, which I described in an earlier video. If you happen to park or leave a scooter in that area, or you happen to leave the service area, then it'll cost you a lot more in fines later, and you'll see it in your bill. And it is not good to see that fine be slapped onto your bill. And some companies even have a warning to repeat offenders that they may not be able to use their system if they continually abuse their rules. And be especially wary when riding through hilly streets. Please exercise caution when climbing up and speeding down steep roads, especially on bicycles. This is true in San Francisco, especially near Coit Tower. Use the handbrake if needed to slow the descent. If you're a less experienced rider, use nearby corridors with gentler slopes. The last sentence I put in there, I can give you a great example called The Wiggle in San Francisco, wherein it is located west of Civic Center and it uses several corridors to reach Golden Gate Park, the Richmond District, and nearby neighborhoods towards the northwest quadrant of San Francisco. If you happen to know The Wiggle, please use it if you are a less than experienced cyclist, so that you don't have to go through steep inclines, which can cause a lot more problems for you if you are unexperienced, and it can lead to bodily harm and injuries. There will be some users who are gonna say, I have limited means. What should I do to use bikeshare or scooter share? Well, other than owning a bike, Segway, or similar device, companies offer programs for persons with limited means and for those in certain professions during the pandemic, which are subject to terms and conditions, including Bird Access, Lime Access, Lyft Community Pass, Scoot Community Plan, Skip Rider Accessibility Plus, and Wind Helping Hands. These programs allow low-income workers to use their services for deeply discounted rates. So in this case, instead of the going fee of $1 per ride plus 20 cents per minute, these eligible workers can get unlimited rides for $5 to $10 a month, provided that they present their eligibility. Let's say if they're part of Social Security, or if they receive food stamps, or if they receive Medicare, or any special benefit that each of these companies decide on, whether they can provide accessibility discount to certain riders. These programs right here are similar to what Muni, Golden Gate, and other Bay Area transit agencies here now provide for some Clipper users, called the Clipper Start program, or in Los Angeles they call it the Los Angeles Life program, which allows commuters to travel anywhere within their service area for a lower fee than the regular adult fare. So, do you like bike share, and how would you like to make it better? Like, share, or comment on these questions below. By the way, bikeshare has a great prospect, in my opinion. Bikeshare is a concept that has survived for over 50 years, 50, and yet it is only in the last decade that a lot of these bike share and scooter share companies have come in and put in vehicles for everybody to use. I even have a friend who is legally blind who experienced riding scooter share for himself in San Jose, and he truly loves it. So, the future of bike share and scooter share, in my opinion, it really has a promising path towards being an integrated part of a much more robust transportation network. And I truly believe that bike share and scooter share can play a greater role in reducing carbon emissions while at the same time promote a an alternative to walking as a form of exercise, traveling from one place to another, especially if you're on a bike, but for a scooter, it's more like a joyride. So, right there, bike share and scooter share provide great opportunities for expansion. And I definitely would like to see even more of these options in suburban communities where, for example, where I live in Marin County, there is a bike share company that is about to start operations. It's called Gotcha, and it will deploy initially the docked bike share system for smart stations along the line, which include Marin County from Larkspur, San Rafael, and Novato to Sonoma County, including Petaluma, Cotati, Runner Park, and Santa Rosa. I definitely am looking forward to seeing even more of these bike share and scooter share systems. That it is something I wish we had many years ago when I was in high school. But now is a great time to invest in such systems. So, if you really like this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Don't forget also to follow me on Twitter at Anthony Nachor. And if you're interested, don't forget to donate money to me on Patreon at patreon.com/Anthony Nachor. I definitely am looking forward to your thoughts and comments on this, and I will see you on the next video. Take care.